Welcome, 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 everyone. What a great Friday it is. We are here for the blend. That's the blend between persistence and patience, something that has driven people crazy for years. And just a few announcements. If you haven't tried out for 2 Minute Drill, season 2 will be filming end of March. So please give me an email, david@dmeltzer.com, if you want to try out $50,000 of cash and prizes for all of our community. Put your questions in the Q&A section or join me on Clubhouse for Q&A or IG Live for Q&A. Make sure that you load those up after we give a little bit of insight on the counterintuitive and confusing blend between patience and persistence. All the exercises, guides, and my books are free from this. So go ahead, email me. Everything from sales to ego to this blend training, all of it is available. Just like I said, email me, david@dmeltzer.com. Next week training is BYOQ, bring your own questions. It's Ask Me Anything training as well. And you can always join my text community. Anyway, let's get started. One of the most common questions that people ask is about how do I detach from my outcome? How can I be a aggressive, ferocious person and have this persistence, this do not quit, consistent, persistent pursuit, and also be a Buddha and allow it to happen, and to be patient and wait for it to happen at its right place at the perfect time. The blend is a word that I found called temperance, and temperance is a virtue that moderates the attraction of the pleasures and the goals and the vision that we had, and provides a balance in the use of these things in the world. It ensures the free will and the mastery that we have over instincts and keeps our desires within the limits of what we want. So it's very important to know what we want personally, experientially, giving and receiving wise, and think of the what it means to temper. For example, steel, right? You have to add the right amount of heat and the right amount of cold to create a stronger metal. This is the same thing we have to do with persistence and patience. It needs to be a temperance, a blend. Too much or too little of the heat and the cold, too much of persistence and too much of patience makes it weak and brittle, just like steel. So to be patient means to have the ability or discipline to be quiet and allow yourself to wait with faith for the right moment to act in temperance, instead of working on something, doing the same thing again and again and again, expecting a different result, which, by the way, is the definition of insanity. And we continually create resistance in our life when we are out of balance or don't have temperance in the blend, the counterintuitive, confusing balance between how do I stay consistent and persistent and yet allow things to happen or be patient for them to happen. And this blending and merging or doing something like that is very counterintuitive, because we have to understand, I think, the nature of how expansion works. So the idea is this, is that if you're persistent and consistent, you're working with the universe, which is expanding as well. And the way that I like to look at it is like a swimming pool. If this is where I'm at today and my pool is filled with water, and I use consistency and persistence to expand, the water creates a vacuum. And that vacuum is the allowance. The vacuum, though, of allowance is that, am I putting the mindset, the heart set, and all the conscious work in? Conscious meaning the actual activities that we get paid for, we don't get paid for, activities that we do, our subconscious thoughts, mind, beliefs, and even our unconscious, things like personality traits, characteristics, obsessions, and addictions. Are we putting the attention and intention into what's going to fill our vacuum, so our expansion or our pool is filled with the right things that we want? And the faith is derived from that process. So if faith is derived from the process and confidence that you are consistent and persistent, that it actually is an additive, the persistence, to the patience. And now that's completely counterintuitive for most of us when we hear it the first time. Let me reverse that back to help you out. So the more persistent you are and consistent you are, the more confident you are that everything's going to work out for the better. right? So the more confident you are, or the more faith you have that I must be at the right place at the perfect time right now. I have everything I need, or I wouldn't be here. And now I'm consistent and persistent towards what I want, but I have faith because of the consistent and persistent behavior that I will end up somewhere better. And that consistent, persistent behavior creates confidence, clarity, balance, and focus in our lives. And yet we naturally create resistance with persistence. Now, how do you create resistance with persistence? When you attach your emotions to an outcome, you actually now create a scarce, limited world that obviously, the more that we wait and get impatient creates more resistance, because what you resist persists. So if you think that it's not happening fast enough and putting your focus energy on what's missing or what's not happening or what other people think should be happening, that's what you're going to end up getting, instead of putting all of your intention on the persistent, consistent behavior, which actually allows things to happen faster. The definition of patience is the ability to accept or tolerate delays or promises or problems or suffering without becoming annoyed or anxious. In other words, without entering the realm of fear, the conscious fear that we have, the fear that creates the interference, the voids, the shortages. So basically, patience is the ability to find the light, the love, and the lessons in everything. Patience is that ability that allows you to resolve yourself of being annoyed or anxious or fearful that things are delayed, or there's problems that we didn't anticipate, or suffering that we didn't know. Meanwhile, when we understand that those problems, suffering, and delays are indicators that we have lessons to learn, in other words, to expand, to grow, to fill our pool again, then we understand how perseverance will refer to the continued, consistent, steady belief, faith, or efforts in spite of discouragement or difficulty, problems, suffering, or delays that may occur. Basically, to pursue leaning those, sorry, to pursue learning the lessons and finding the light, the love, and the lessons, to reconcile or blend with temperance, not too much hot, not too much cold, exactly what we want, to strengthen our resolve, to strengthen our faith that something better is happening. Now, what is the difference between patience and persistence? By itself, patience is just the ability to tolerate the passing of time. Don't sit at home dreaming about what you want, high on your mom's couch, broke, sick, and just dreaming all alone. What you really want to do is blend patience with temperance, with persistence, and persistence being that ability to push and push and push and push, and its ability to be stubborn in the best possible sense of the word, to not quit, to look up, to get up, to enjoy the consistent, persistent pursuit of your potential. So, how do we do that? What are these ingredients that we're looking at in order to blend or have temperance in our life between patience and perseverance? The first thing is courage. When you think of courage, you think of physical bravery, but there are many forms of courage. And the one that I think that we speak about a lot is faith. There is courage in faith. There is courage in belief. There's courage in the ability to stay persistent, even though things aren't happening as quickly as you want them to happen. So, one of the first ingredients to look at is, am I courageous enough to be patient? Am I courageous enough to learn the lessons in order to get to where I want to be, or somewhere better than I can even imagine? In order to do so, you need the second ingredient, which is to be more interested than interesting, right? To be more interested than interesting. And that is a habit that allows you to expand, grow, and fill that vacuum, that pool, with what you want. So you have to look a little bit deeper. You have to walk the walk. You have to institute the law of Goya, get off your ass and actually show interest and intention and attention into what you want. The other thing that we need to do as an ingredient is actually create a consciousness of temperance. And when we create this, we define it as the personality trait of being thorough, careful, and vigilant in what we do, to utilize the AAA strategy of getting alignment through being more interested than interesting, taking action through the law of Goya, and creating a consciousness of adjustment, preparing for adjustment, knowing that we don't know what we don't know, knowing that if you want to make God laugh, come up with a well-developed plan. So create a consciousness in order to do so. And the second ingredient then would be to empower others, as is my mission, to create a collective consciousness, to allow the segmentation, the acceleration, to allow those people that laughed at you, scoffed at you, made fun of you, to applaud you and come behind you with all of the productivity, accessibility, and gratitude that they have. Improving productivity with patience will be beneficial both in the short and the long term. If we're able to blend that, we'll provide more confidence to the entire team, as they know that as a leader, that you're patiently providing consistent, persistent behavior, that you've detached your emotions from an outcome, not putting too much pressure on your team or the collective to perform outside of what's realistic. So many times we do this. I'd say we put artificial pressure on a sales cycle. We try to close things when they're not ready to close. We haven't gone through the 5 different steps, the 5 to thrive, right? We haven't stimulated interest appropriately, transitioned the interest. We haven't shared a vision to articulate quantitative value more than what we're asking for. We haven't managed and developed that with a go, no go plan, or allowed it to thrive in order to blend the temperance of patience and perseverance in a sales cycle. And if anybody wants any of the exercises on 5 to Thrive on a go, no go plan, I know they're very popular. Just email me. I'll send them to you for free, david@dmeltzer.com. All of the guides, books, anything you want on this, please reach out, take the stuff, use it. I have templates, I have exercises that will allow you to blend patience and perseverance by using go, no go plans and 5 to Thrive documents, credibility documents, AAA strategy, whatever you want. Beyond the creating of your own personal consciousness, temperance, and the collective consciousness of not putting an artificial expectations of emotions on an outcome and pressure on other people to do so, which creates resistance and voids and shortages in what your not only expectations are, but what actually the productivity and end result will be. You need to know one other ingredient in order to have this blend, this counterintuitive, confusing blend of temperance, and that is be happy where you're at. So many people ignore the first steps of for taking inventory of their values, but also assessing and being happy with what we have. So much confidence comes to inspire us to have the consistent, persistent behavior and the patience for it to happen when we are happy where we're at and take the time to learn to love the light, the love, and the lessons of where we're at, to know that we are exactly where we're supposed to be at the right place at the perfect time, that we have everything we need or we would not be here. Put that on your wall. I have everything I need or I would not be here. I'm worthy of everything I have. I am health. I am wealth. I am happiness. I just have to figure out what I'm doing to interfere with my health, wealth, and happiness. I have to be able to be happy every day and only spend minutes and moments outside of happiness and ego-based consciousness. And that is one of the temperances that we utilize in order to effectuate staying motivated, inspired to be consistent and persistent in the pursuit, as well as patient for our potential to occur. The other ingredient is the perseverance ingredient, to be strong and to never give up. For your work will be rewarded eventually, and you will need to persevere so that when you have done your best, you will see better than what you expected. An ability to recover or adjust easily to the misfortunes or change or things or circumstances that you didn't expect, and angle to what you want. This idea of angling to what you want shows an enlightenment, a consciousness that you don't know what you don't know, and that you are accepting of the lessons that are coming up with the pain, suffering, delays that you didn't anticipate, and you see and look upon them with a positive perspective that this is an opportunity to grow, learn, expand, so that you're putting the right things into your swimming pool. And that perseverance and perspective combined with the resilience of not quitting. And this is resilience combined with patience and persistence and perseverance and temperance. It has to, people have to understand segmentation. And I'm gonna give a story about a lily pond that I've given before to explain how important it is to have perspective of how things grow. You know, I have a lily pond and it has one lily pad on it. And I brought out an expert to say, I want to fill my lily pond with all to be covered completely with lily pads. And after assessing the size of the pond and where it's at, the expert assessed and said it's going to take 20 years to fill your pond. And they double each time each year. You'll have twice as many lilies and lily pads. And he said, so I looked at him. I said, so in 10 years, it'll be halfway full. He said, no, it takes 90% of the time if things double to get to where you want to be. 90% of the time just to get to 25% of the way there. It takes 95% of the time to get to 50% and all 20 years to get to 100%. This is the problem with perseverance, temperance, and patience, which I've mentioned before. The lily pond is not full until the 20 years. It's halfway full at 19 years. It's 25% full in 18 years. But what happens within the 0 to 18 is that we start doubting ourselves. Other people start doubting us. We start focusing on what's missing, what other people are saying, or what we don't want. And then we actually slow down the process. Where if we have confidence in faith with the consistent, persistent pursuit, not only will we actually get there in 20 years, but most likely it will speed up the doubling process. And instead of taking, it takes 1 year to get 2 pads, it'll take 2 years to get 4 pads. All of a sudden, it's 11 months to get 8 pads. And now it's 10 months to get 16 and so on. You'll actually get there faster. And this is so counterintuitive because our perspective cannot figure out the math of exponential growth, acceleration, and compound interest. Study Einstein's compound interest and rule of 72. For every percent that you increase your betterment of what you're doing, utilizing persistence and patience, that it will half from the rule of 72 how long it takes to double. So if we can get 1% better each year, and it takes 1 year to double the first year, and we get 1% better, it will actually take 36, which would be half as much time, and so on and so on. I love to apply math to patience. I love to apply math to motivate and inspire me to stay the course, to angle to what I want, knowing I'm going to end up somewhere better if I'm able emotionally to detach myself from the outcome at hand. And segmentation, the understanding of the lily pond story, is so important to every aspect of an expanding, growing, accelerating life. That if we can tell ourselves that we're not going to be 25% of the way there until we're 90% in time done. There are no overnight successes. We can speed up the process by getting better, more productive, more accessible, and more statistically successful. We can do that, more efficient in what we're doing. But in the end, we have to understand that things that are successful double upon themselves at a rate that can accelerate, but at a steady rate, it would be 90% of your time until you're 25% of the way there. Then it turns into, so when most people think they're halfway there, it's half as amount of time that they expect it to take. Not only does it slow things down when you expect it to take a certain amount of time, but beyond that, even if it worked within the context of expecting in the time frame in which you gave it, you would end up not being there until you were literally 25% of the way and 90% of the time. 18 years in the lily pond example. Now, pursuit is the continued effort to do or achieve something despite the difficulties, failures, oppositions that you face, and you have to have faith that you're going to end up somewhere better. Now, why? Because I imply or apply the why not rule. So if you have a choice whether or not you believe this is your only life to live or you have multiple lives to live, why would you choose multiple lives to live? If you have a choice that you're going to end up exactly where you want to be or somewhere better, both are uncertainties. Which one would you choose? The majority of the people actually choose initially that they're going to end up where they want to be. And then because of segmentation and how long it takes, they actually start believing and settling and also believing that they're going to end up somewhere worse, less than. In the same mindset, you can go ahead and adjust it and end up somewhere better. And so for me, it's I'm happy where I'm at. I adjust that every single day, utilizing the AAA philosophy, the law of Goya to angle to what I want, accepting the lessons that I'm supposed to learn, finding the light in everything I do, learning to love all the things that other people don't learn to love, which is my superpower, and then having the faith that I'm going to end up somewhere better. So, understanding these ingredients of courage, being more interested than interesting, creating consciousness, collective consciousness, being happy where you're at, perseverance, temperance, angling to what you want, resilience, of course, segmentation, and having faith that you're going to end up somewhere better. How do we develop these things? And so I want to go through some ways that you can develop these types of behaviors, these disciplines and strategies and habits in order to incorporate into your quantum memory, your own habit machine, in order to effectuate that expansion and the filling of the vacuum that you wanted. And so the first one is you need to identify your wants and desires. If you don't know where you're going, you'll probably end up somewhere else. I'm going to repeat that. If you don't know where you're going, you're going to end up somewhere else. So you need to be able to take inventory every day and not being afraid of being a hypocrite, not being afraid to change your mind, to know where you're going, at least for that day, and utilizing all the different things to create a mindset around where you want to go, and then also asking and finding out and beyond where you want to go, determine your motivation and inspiration to get there. A lot of people miss this step. They figure out this is where I want to be, but they go ahead and look at the techniques and the skills and the capabilities instead of looking at the desire first. When I do a vision board, I attach my desire of why, reasons, impacts to the capabilities that I need to understand what is my motivation for it. I want to help my children. I want to change the world. I want to empower the world to be happy. I want to, whatever it may be. First, you need to know your what, and then you need to know what is your determination, motivation, or inspiration. And then you can start outlining the action steps to create a plan, thinking about alignment with what's doing well now, what's stable now, and what maybe do well in the future, determining your own capabilities, your skills, your knowledge of what and who, and your desire to figure out the steps to angle towards what you want. And after you outline those steps, you have to understand the mindset that it's going to take with all of those things that we previously mentioned, from courage to consciousness to perseverance to segmentation to faith, etc. And then build the collective consciousness around it. How do we do that? Once you know your what, your determination, inspiration, and motivation, once you figure out the AAA strategy of utilizing it all, definite action steps and adjustments that we're preparing for, and the right mindset and hard set to do so, now we have to create the collective consciousness. We have to figure out who, because the easiest way to get to where we want to be, once you determine where you want to be and take the steps to get there, is to find out who's already there and ask them for help. And as everybody knows, there's one magic question in asking for help. Do you know anyone that can help me? And there's 4 platforms to do that on: in person every day, on the phone every day, text and phone calls. Don't be afraid of making a phone call. It's the least amount of messages I have to return a day is on my phone. Everybody's afraid to call me. But you're welcome to call me. You're welcome to text me. Please, right? I have my own text community, 949-298-2905. And you're welcome to email me, david@dmeltzer.com, and ask me, do you know anyone that can help me? But also via email, right? I check my sent box every day. If you're not checking your sent box to see how disciplined you are at finding the who and asking for help, you're missing out on the exponentiality of the connectivity that we've created through all the different databases and mediums that we have, which leads me to the last platform, which is traditional and digital media. We should be asking every day, do you know anyone that can help me with my what and where and who? And then we need to, as discussed here, develop itself into a discipline or a strategy to do so. So many people miss, I think, the 2 most important steps is determining your inspiration and motivation, but also developing the discipline and habit by lowering the bar 7 days a week, 2 minutes a day is worth more than 2 hours on a Saturday. Create your non-negotiables of your values in order to effectuate these things by giving yourself a minimum amount of time every day to focus your attention and intention on the coincidences that you want to blend the consistent, persistent behavior with this patience of faith. And so, how do I practice the blend, right? We've talked about blending the ingredients, developing a plan. Now, how do I practice or execute on it? To finish up before we take Q&A, there's 5 different practices that I look at in order to effectuate the blend of the counterintuitive, confusing temperance of persistence and patience. Number 1, learn to love what you do. Pain is an indicator. It's a turn signal, not a stop sign. But I will tell you, my superpower is that I learn to love all the activity I get paid for and the activity I don't get paid for. I don't do it until I learn to love it. I'm going to repeat that. I don't do it, activities I get paid for, activities I don't get paid for, until I learn to love it. And if I can't learn to love it, I delegate it, pay someone to do it, or get rid of it from my life. And therefore, if I can learn to do what I love, I will embrace all the obstacles, voids, and shortages that may arise in order to effectuate as an indicator. There's a lesson to learn, which makes me love it more, because learning is what I love to do, because it means I'm expanding, growing, and accelerating towards what I want. With faith, I'm going to get somewhere better. Number 2, to practice the blend, find the lesson in what you love. As I mentioned, pain is that indicator, and you need to be consistent and persistent and pursue everything that you're looking for and through in the face of set ups. Notice I didn't say setbacks. In the face of set ups. When you can find the lesson, the light, and the love in what you have learned to love to do, you will only accelerate the speed of segmentation, exponential growth, and compound interest. So find the lesson of what you've learned to love to do. The third we mentioned previously, to practice segmentation, master the path of effort in order to pursue your potential, not other people's potential, not what's missing, not what you don't want, not obstacles, voids, and shortages. We need to make sure that we have control of our mindset, our heart set, and this conscious continuum to understand that the more I allow things to happen with persistent behavior, the faster they will arrive. I only create resistance by attaching my emotions to an outcome that I only will be happy when this occurs, and not understanding segmentation expected to occur faster than the math that we live in will allow. 4, how do I practice the blend? They laugh at you, they scoff at you, they make fun of you. Learn from the criticism, because they will applaud you. Listen and understand the criticism that you're getting, and understand and pray for its happiness, but they will laugh at you. You need to focus in on what you want. Take in like a handful of sand, all the different advice of everybody else, and hold on to the 1 or 2 kernels that resonate or align with what you want. Let the other ones with gratitude and understanding fall through your hands. And then finally, to finish up before we take Q&A, load it up online, IG, Clubhouse. Let me know. Give me those questions. Speaking of which, number 5, how do I practice the blend? Find the lessons and inspiration in other people. In other words, be more interested and interesting. Find people who sit in the situation that you want to be in. Find those lessons. Remember, there's 2 types of people to learn the lessons from and get inspired from, to get the directions to where they are. One is a coach, and a coach will bring out the best in you, and the other is a mentor. And a mentor will give the best of them, will give you the directions to get to where they are. You need a combination of both to get motivated and inspired to not only get up, get back up, get started, get back started, but to get there. And that combination of people who bring the best out of you and the people that give the best of themselves will get you to where you want to go in the blend of patience and persistence. Now, everybody, we're going to go to questions. I just want to make a few reminders. 2-minute drill, please try out. You'll love it. $50,000 of cash and prizes. It's on Bloomberg. It's on Amazon Prime Video. You'll love it. Q&A section, fill that up. all the exercises from persistence to patience to segmentation to go no go plans to the sales tools to all my books. I'll sign them, send them, pay for shipping. I don't care. All you need to do is email me, david@dmeltzer.com. Next week training is just like my Mondays. Ask me anything, BYOQ. You bring the questions. I'll hot seat coach and mentor you throughout an hour of time on IG, on Clubhouse, and on this system as well. So just email me if you want to join me. Join my text community, 949-298-2905. All right, enough of this. Let's get to the good stuff. I love answering questions. Thank you so much for putting them in here. I'm going to call up first Sydney Ambrose. Come on up. I'm going to take a quick question here. If you are immersed in the moment instead of focusing on a future moment, then do you need patience? Even though you're immersed in a moment and staying present by doing it now, you should have a idea of where you want to go. So I always say, if you want to get from San Diego to Maine at night, you need to see 3 feet in front of you, but you need to know your ultimate location, and you may end up somewhere better than Maine even. But beyond that, you do have to blend that immersed focused, persistent, consistent behavior on what those daily activities of the what, the who, the how, the now, and the why, while you're in the context of a grander scaled event that you reassess every day, which may change and make you a hypocrite, but don't care. So you need to blend not only patience and persistence, but the positive present with your future objectives, detaching your emotions from it, allowing you to end up somewhere better with faith. All right, Sydney, thank you for joining me. What question do you have? Awesome. Thanks for joining me.
Just wanted you to touch a little. Just wanted you to touch a little bit on the trick and the ego thing, and how you can apply that to in a business sense. Because I know you talked about it, going to the gym, kind of tricking yourself. Hey, let me just go down to the gym for 1 minute, make it count. But I want to see, like, in a business, from a business standpoint, how would that work in a situation?
Yeah, determinative upon what the business or critical business issue is, we can go ahead and analogize, just putting our tennis shoes on. So a lot of times when we have resistance, let's just take sales, for example, since one of my expertise is in that matter. So many people create a resistance to people calling them back or to making calls themselves. So what I do is I go ahead and prioritize my list by the hardest things that I need to do, and I just pick one of them and tell myself that my day will be successful after I've done the list. Here, if I just go ahead and cut my right hand fingernails first, if I'm right handed. In other words, this is the most challenging, difficult opportunity of the day. I'm going to go ahead and take this one on first. If I get it done, my day is done. I know other people that give 5 action items and work through that. On the sales end, you know, I think, I'll just make the first call, or I even trick my ego by saying, you know what, my goal is to see how quickly I can get them off the phone. Because it's amazing that when we shift the paradigm of resistance to make a cold call or a sales call, to see how quickly we can get them off the phone, how long they stay on the phone, and how much better of a salesperson we are. You also can trick the ego by having an alter ego effect. Herman wrote a great book, The Alter Ego Effect, where we can take on different identities that are outside of our own ego to reduce the fear or resistance that we have in business by, carrying, Napoleon Hill's book with us and utilizing that energy, or just simply using our middle name when we're, cold calling or whatever else it may be, to shift from the ego, the fears that we have in our own innate personalities. But I would say lower the bar, adjust your own personality ego into some other entity or under other shift of energy, and you'll find you'll have great success, just the same as you would working out and saying, all I'm going to do is put my shoes on today. You will get so much more done with productivity, accessibility, and gratitude. Does that sound fair?
I agree, man. Thank you so much for the info.
Awesome, man. All right. Very good. We're going to bring up Jordana. Hi, Jordana. Come on up. I'm going to have hi. Let me just get a quick question online while you're closing your door. Who are some of the people that are really good examples of using this blend? Wow, there's a lot of people that are good examples, but people that I love that have that blend, Gary, whoa, as well as Tom Bilyeu, Ed Milet, uh, Dean Graziosi, tons of my friends that, I mean, Bob Proctor, especially, that you wouldn't believe. Bob Proctor, 86 years old, probably puts more productive, accessible, and gracious time in a day and just allows the how to happen. But he's extremely clear, balanced, and focused in what he wants. Nobody's more consistent and persistent, but yet he is able to detach his emotions from the outcome and allow the blend. I am on the pursuit to be very good at that as well, and have over the last 16 years become much better at it and have seen the results because of it. Okay, Jordana, welcome back.
Thank you. So first, thank you. Oh my gosh, I mean, you guys, you're a rock star, Dave. I don't know how you do what you do, but you are just amazing. And I tell you this every time I speak with you. So thank you for pulling me up. So every time I speak with you, I am happy to say that because of your mentorship and just things that I hear you say, our business is evolving. We're now at a point that we want to raise the first round to really scale what we're doing to the next level. We're talking to some people that tell us that we should go for a strategic partner that can make that investment to the company, but also help us grow it. And then some people are giving us the advice of crowdfunding to raise this first round. So I'm just trying to figure out, because this is all so new to us, what your thoughts are, especially because even though, we're only a startup, still at 2 years and some. So what would you say is, some advice when raising the first amount of capital to grow a business?
So this is one of my favorite questions, and thanks for asking it, Jordana. Thanks for the compliment as well. But let me just tell everybody this: money is money, and it's your responsibility to build two different asset classes within a raise. One is like a public company; they'll take money from anybody. And capitalizing a new venture is extremely important. So create an asset class that takes in money from anyone, that doesn't allow them to have voting rights or control or any emotional drain on what you're doing, but allows them to benefit from your huge success. But take money from anybody and create a class of assets or class of investment to allow you to take money from even people you don't like, but they will have no control or no income or outcome on you. And then create another class of investment that is for strategic partners, one who can participate in expanding and accelerating your vision and giving you input and relationship capital and situational knowledge. I think one of the biggest mistakes that people make on their raise is they buy into this BS about, oh, I'm looking for a smart investor, a strategic investor. Yeah, aren't we all? But in the end, you want money so you can accelerate what you're doing. And it's your accountability and responsibility to create an asset class, an investment class to take in anybody's money, as well as create a class for the strategic investor, which obviously has more value than someone that just has money, but don't discount the money. So many people have delayed and gone out of business because they were looking for some sort of, unicorn investor that is completely aligned with what they're doing and passing up what, excuse my language, they call dumb money, because they weren't smart enough themselves to create a class of investment to protect themselves, just like a public company would, to take in anybody's money that's willing to take the risk with the timing that they have. Does that sound fair?
That's amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You're amazing. And it's so nice to hear your voice. This is like a reunion for me. I love you all. Thank you for coming. Um, all right, Samuel Sussman is next. I'm going to read another question off of here. Is it better to have a boss who is a micromanager or one that lets me do my thing? Look, I'm a big fan of micromanagers. Let me tell you why. Because a micromanager obviously cares about you, is willing to make an investment in you, is willing to be a coach as well as a mentor to you. And too many people resist that help of a micromanager. I cannot imagine any boss that would want to spend any time micromanaging anybody except for the reason to make them better and to make the investment in them. Too much resistance is created when a boss or a superior is trying to help, when someone's insecurity is projecting the fact that, oh, they're just micromanaging me. I will get rid of someone that complains that I micromanage them when I'm taking the effort to make them better, and they're completely oblivious to the fact fact of what my intentions are. So I do not want any of my managers or anybody that I'm working with to just do their own thing. I want to, as best as I can, pay as much attention as I can and make as much investment in them as I can. And I pray that they're grateful for it, not resistant to it. All right, back to Samuel. How are you?
I'm doing well, David. Thank you for inviting me up to speak, Jake. I'm actually hoping to find out with your business consulting fees if you're ever planning on utilizing the Department of Defense Skill Bridge program and
Wow.
starting to help businesses by utilizing that program.
I absolutely am interested in that. And if you could email me, I will be open to anything that will help in the space that I'm working in to empower over 1 billion people to be happy, to make more money, help more people, and have more fun. So email me at david@dmeltzer.com. And I'd love to learn more about that and how not only can they be of service to our community, but also how I can be of service to them. Does that sound fair?
Absolutely. Have you heard of the Skill Bridge program before?
I have. I have. I just don't know too much about it, and obviously, I have a lot of different opportunities that come my way. That without the right push and partners, it's difficult for me to learn everything. But this sounds something that keeps coming up in my awareness, so I want to learn more about it. And you may be the right associate to help me.
Absolutely. Can I give you the 2-minute elevator pitch for it?
Why don't you give everybody? Go ahead.
Absolutely.
And then I'm going to critique. I'm going to give you a 1 minute elevator. Oh, no, 2 minutes. I have 2 minute drill. I'll give you 2 minutes and then I'll give you a critique on the pitch. Is that cool?
Absolutely.
All right. We'll do our own little 2 minute drill. Here we go. And next time you could do it, you can make $50,000 of cash and prizes and trial for my show. So this will be a practice. Go ahead.
Absolutely. So the DoD Skill Bridge program is a program for small businesses to participate in, where they can get an active duty apprentice or an intern, or even run a training program for the last 180 days of active duty service for that service member. So these are your not your National Guard, your Navy, Army, Marine Corps, and Air Force veterans who are actively getting out with hundreds of thousands of dollars of training behind them, trying to enter the civilian workforce. You essentially get a free 180-day trial period with the opportunity to hire them on at the end.
Wow. All right. You didn't use all your time. That would be my number one constructive criticism. But moreover, the Skills Bridge program is exactly aligned with what I love to do in both athletes and our service members, which need to transition with extraordinary skill set and value. I'm all in. I love the program. I would, just as another constructive criticism, give a little bit of a more emotional attachment about the transition, about the 2 deaths that people survive when they're an athlete or a service military member transitioning from a 20-year routine into the workforce, or whatever examples that you could give. And then also articulate the quantitative value that one of those interns would have and how much it costs to create and give somebody a new job and finding the right people, what it has and the impact in the business. So a lot left on the table would be my only critique, but I will tell you, I'm sure glad that I gave you the minute that I did, because that program, the Skill Bridge program, seems extraordinary. Put the link in the notes. Email me, david@dmeltzer.com. Also, try out for my TV show. I'd love to hear more and put you on Bloomberg and Amazon to get more exposure and awareness as well, and maybe win $50,000 of cash and prizes. Does that sound fair?
Absolutely. Jake, should I reach out to you as well to get that process?
Oh yeah, Jake. Heck yeah, Jake. It's dmeltzer.com/pitch, but Jake will help you as well. And Jake micromanages me because he's my boss and he cares about me. So definitely look out to Jake. All right, I'm asking, get another question here and bring up Aaron Wexler, who I love. Question here says, can you talk about your steps to selling and follow up? Yeah, everybody, if you want the exercise on selling, the 5 steps, the 5 to thrive, and I'm going to go through them real quickly: stimulate interest, transition interest, share a vision by articulating quantitative value of more than you're asking for, a go plan in the managing and development of that business in order for the business to step 5, thrive. I have a 5 to thrive selling system. Happy to send you that. Just email me again, david@dmeltzer.com. Aaron, what do you got for me, my friend?
Hey, David, thank you so much for making yourself available on Clubhouse like this. This is awesome. And I just really appreciate the value that you give out, man. Really appreciate it. So my question today is, as a content creator, I'm a podcaster. So as a content creator, I'm looking to enter the space of mindset, which you are an expert in. And so in that space, my question is, how do I create a transactionable offer? Because I feel like I'm spending so much time on social media and on Clubhouse and gaining a lot of knowledge. So it's great, but like I want to make money, right? So like, how do I create that transactionable offer?
I love it because this applies right to the blend. Um, in order to monetize your community, number one, you need to build a community, and two, you need to provide value. And if you're not capable of monetizing it, it's for two reasons. One, because you're not manipulating, lying, cheating, overselling, or back end selling and making an offer that isn't true or guaranteed or has more value than you're asking for. Or two, you have not reached the pinnacle or you have not reached the catalyst of when people start asking for extra things that you can do, either extra access, more value. And so for me, I spent almost 4 years building a community by providing it value with books and TV shows and content and speeches and all the coaching that I did for charity, whatever it was. And then people started to ask for my help in the various things that I could quantify and articulate the value of what I was doing and ask for something. And as I believe that it's giving. If you're capable, and this is, in my heart of all hearts, I don't mind receiving or monetizing what I do as long as number one, I can articulate first the value is greater than what I'm asking for, the 120 rule, meaning I'm asking, to give $100 and ask for 20 back, carry that energy and that mindset with it, but then also guarantee it month to month. So if you can guarantee quantitative value to people, not subjective value, right? Not the purple dinosaur, I love you, you love me, nobody makes any money, which literally is, I believe that is the problem with most coaches and consultants and advisors is they all are purple dinosaurs. They don't provide quantitative value. They don't guarantee quantifiable value. They can't articulate quantifiable value to exceed what they're asking for. So if you're able to articulate it, then start articulating it. If you're able to attract it, then start attracting it. If you're able to access it, then start accessing it. But it's a very subtle transition, which is, like I said, the blend of being so persistent and ferocious about providing value to others and asking, hey, do you know anyone that can help me? I'd love to give this value for this much and I'll guarantee it. I won't lock you in. I work month to month. All the things that have built, my platform of the monetize side of my platform, which has, private groups and one-on-one advisory and business consulting with some of the biggest, chairmans that I work with of the biggest companies in the world, the greatest athletes, celebrities, billionaires, millionaires, and entrepreneurs. They all have the same deal with me. I'm going to be a profit center. So if you can articulate that and guarantee it, man, you'll make a fortune. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, I love that. And if I could just follow up on that, because I feel like this is so relatable to so many people out there who are trying to, spend time on these social media platforms and trying to figure out what that what do you say, quantifiable?
Yeah, quantifiable.
I just love that. But would you suggest that we just like write a book or like what's the route for someone who doesn't know the next step? You know?
So number one, I would get a mentor, right? I mean, to be straight out, there's so many people that are sitting in a situation that you want to be in, whether they wrote books, they speak, they coach, they provide online courses, they have TV shows, movies, whatever, and wherever you want to create your content and stimulate, motivate, inspire people with, find somebody that is there and ask them directions on how to get there, or just pick by taking inventory of your own values, what you find most important and valuable, aligned with what you are valuing to get started there. So if, for you, it's writing a book, if it's podcast, if it's videos every day, Instagram Live, Clubhouse, webinars, I don't know, you pick for yourself. I prefer to use the shortcut, which is find someone that's already there and ask them for directions. Okay.
Well, that's you, buddy.
email me, Aaron. I'm here for you. Absolutely. All right.
I love it. Appreciate you, David.
I appreciate everyone, especially you, Aaron, for coming up here and having the vulnerability to ask the questions that everyone's thinking about. So thank you. All right. Next up is Jad. Jad, give me 1 minute to take a question. I love this one here. How do you reach out to somebody cold? Well, first of all, the somebody cold should be a little bit more researched and at least to have people with open minds. I'm seeking people with open minds because it takes 1,000 times the effort to reach out to someone with a closed mind than it does an open mind, even if they're sitting as low hanging fruit, exactly what you're looking for. If they have a closed mind, it ain't going to do you any good. So reach out and then practice the superpower of reaching out. The superpower, get your pens ready, everyone. The superpower of reaching out is to be an expert at getting people to get back to you. Whether it's in person, on the phone, via email, or media, you want to practice what it takes to get people to get back to you. Over 80% of the people never get back to you. Imagine if you can increase that 10%, what it will do to your bottom line and your opportunity. And so to reach out to somebody cold, find an open mind and practice getting them to get back to you so that you then can, number one, have credibility when you talk to them, have an emotional attachment by asking them what they like and what they don't like about what they're doing today, and then appreciate the difference that you can provide, the differential of something that you can provide. Reach out to someone by finding open minds and getting alignment with credibility, emotional attachment. And then, of course, as Aaron has helped us understand, we got to be able to articulate, that means speak about, articulate, write about, read about, sound about, the quantitative value to exceed more than we're asking for. All right, let's keep that one in mind. Great question. Jad, what question do you have for me?
Hey, thanks for having me. Number one is essentially how do you have a work-life balance, David? And then on top of that is like, what type of productivity tools do you use to balance out your life?
I love this question too. Thank you, Jad. So number one, I have a weighted balance in my life, and that weighted balance is effectuated by my what, my who, my how, my now, and my why. Meaning every day I take inventory of my values, my personal values, my experiential values, my giving values and receiving values. And through that, I use now and find, as I said to Aaron, people who are where I want to be and ask them for help, or I effectuate being, and you said, how do I implement it? I am a student, and a student is someone that utilizes the mathematical equation of luck, meaning I'm going to pay attention to and give intention to the coincidences I want in my day, according to the values that I set forth, which I'm not afraid of being a hypocrite of, meaning changing my mind. So some days it's much more important to spend time with my family. Sometimes it's more important to spend more time with an activity I get paid for or not paid for. Always considering non-negotiables where I have a minimum amount of time dedicated 7 days a week, minimum of an hour a day on my health, a minimum an hour, 30 minutes with my wife, 30 minutes with my 10-year-old, 2 minutes a day with my teenagers, 3 daughters. I asked for 5, they gave me 2. And of course, a minute a day with my mom. Tell her that I'm happy, I'm healthy, I love her and appreciate it. The only 4 things that you need to tell a parent: that you're healthy, happy, appreciate, and love them. Your relationship will explode if you tell them those 4 things. But effectuating being a student, using the mathematical equation of luck, I'm studying what I have planned, what I don't have planned in my sleep. Remember, you don't have to live with the man-made construct of time. We talked about time, segmentation, space, quantities. Those are all man-made constructs. So I shift the paradigm. I go with the counterintuitive thought that why not have my tomorrow start today? Meaning my day starts on 9 p.m. mark tonight. And I utilize that for an unwinding routine that allows me to access subconsciously and unconsciously the greatest source of power, the greatest source of lessons, the greatest source of light and love, so that I'm clearing the connection to that. So I can plateau and grow in the morning, where most people call that their new day. I'm already deep into my day, effectuating by 4 a.m. a routine and having an adaptable routine when things don't go as planned. So take inventory of your values, know your what, get your who, and then your how is to use the lenses of productivity, accessibility, and gratitude to effectuate productivity, statistical success, efficiency within the context of what you have planned, what you don't have planned in your sleep. Do things now, stay present. 100% of the things you do now get done. And then finally, get out of your own way. Don't take yourself so seriously. Practice ending fear. Know that you are health. You are wealth. You are happiness. And your free will is utilized to clear the interference between you and what you already have. Sorry for talking so quickly. Everybody can email me. You can rewatch the replays on the Playbook podcast. I hope, for goodness sakes, you got some of that. Hopefully, Jad, was that helpful?
Yeah, no, it was definitely helpful. I do appreciate it. However, on top of that, what sort of productivity applications, tools, what do you use, David?
I use Outlook. Believe it or not, I have a CRM, which I utilize in the productivity side of things. So just complementing Outlook with a CRM, whether it be Salesforce or Zoho or any other ones that you may use. I keep things very simple. And I feel that, the PIM application of Outlook by itself, for me, the personal information management system, can be utilized effectively in order to have the efficiency, statistical success, to utilize the power of 64, which is twice as many productive hours, twice as efficient with twice statistical success, which is in the book, which I'll send you, Jad. If you email me, david@dmeltzer.com, or anyone, I'll email you just email me. I'll sign my book, send it to you, pay for shipping, or email it to you. Plus, I have a Power of 64 guide that is a productivity guide that specifically will talk you through how to have 8 days of productivity every day, 56 days of productivity every week, and still have a weighted balance with a very fulfilling and passionate family life, economic life, philanthropic life, and activity you get paid for. Does that sound fair?
Sounds great. Really much appreciate it again. Thank you.
You're awesome, man. Thank you so much. All right, let me just take one question here online and see if we have enough here. How do you know when you're pushing too hard for something? You get pain. So when you get pain, that's an indicator that you're pushing too hard, right? If we get and keep doing the same things and get the same result and it results in pain, that means you have a lesson to learn. So breathe, get back to center, find that lesson, and then move forward. If you have pain, suffering, delays, etc., you may be pushing too hard. So take a step back, breathe, get to center and neutral, and accelerate in the right direction. All right, we have time for one more person. If you come up real quick, we got 1 minute. Mike, come on up, ask me a question real quick.
David, what's up, man? So I want to know what activities you do through the day, aside from the morning routine, to keep your mind on the right track in times of darkness. And on top of that, what's the number one book or resource you recommend on the topic of your mind?
Yeah, for me, Power of Intention is the best book for topic of the mind. I also like Think and Grow Rich, and I also like The Course in Miracles. Those are three of my favorites, which I read or listen to every single day. I have a practice of minutes and moments. Just to finish up, and the practice of minutes and moments say: 1, identify what's causing that interference. 2, stop. Don't resist it. Don't oversell it, back and sell it. Go over it, under it, through it. Don't waste my energy in ego-based consciousness, but simply stop and then breathe, as I mentioned before. Plateau and grow with my life by utilizing meditation as a baseline, my unwinding routine the night before, in order to effectuate a higher frequency and plateau in the morning. So I stop and then I drop down to center and then I roll in the right trajectory. But the main mindset that I have when I feel bad is I'm only going to spend minutes and moments feeling bad. Every day there's something that makes me feel bad or not good. And instead of wasting time, emotion, accelerating into it, over it, through it, around it, or allowing it to push me off of my trajectory, I simply take a moment to stop, to find my peace, to find my center, to find my highest frequency, in order to spend minutes and moments in the bad feelings instead of days, weeks, months, and years. And once again, everybody, I want to thank you so much. Please reach out to me, david@dmeltzer.com. I will send you all my books, guides, exercises, all for free. I'll sign it, send it, pay for shipping, not a problem. Q&A, ask me anything, BYOQ next week. Please join me 6 a.m. on Clubhouse every Friday, as well as 3 p.m. Ask Me Anything on Mondays on Clubhouse. Trainings are every Friday, 11 a.m. Pacific time. If you want to see all the other trainings, billionaires, millionaires, entrepreneurs, celebrities, athletes, entertainers, download the playbook. It's right there on Spotify, Entrepreneur, Google, iTunes. You can reach it. If you have any other questions, just reach out. Remember, most importantly, everybody, be kind to your future self and do good deeds. Thank you so much.
This January comes the next hit business show, 2-Minute Drill. 4 companies will have 2 minutes to pitch their business, competing for $50,000 in cash and prizes. Will they rise to the occasion or crumble under the pressure?
You want to give yourself a critique or what?
Crunching your way to a healthier new you.
This is a great idea. Too bad you have it.
David Meltzer hosts 2-Minute Drill.